The Black Templars were founded in the aftermath of the Horus Heresy, during the period following the second founding of the Space Marine Legions. They emerged as a distinct and zealous successor chapter of the Imperial Fists under the leadership of Sigismund, the first captain. Sigismund had been the champion of the Emperor and the founder of the elite knights of the Imperial Fists during the Great Crusade. In the wake of the heresy, he gathered a following of battle-hardened warriors who shared his unyielding devotion to the Emperor, forming the nucleus of what would become the Black Templars. The chapter's origins were rooted in a combination of martial necessity, spiritual fervour, and the need for an organisation capable of conducting relentless crusades far from the central authority of the Imperium. From their inception, the Black Templars rejected the strict adherence to the Codex Astartes practiced by other successor chapters. Instead, they embraced a philosophy that prioritised the offence, focusing on constant movement and aggressive engagement against enemies of the Imperium. Their founding doctrine was shaped by Sigismund's personal experience as a warrior and his belief in the moral imperative of purging heresy and alien influence wherever it arose. This doctrine would define the Black Templars throughout their history and distinguish them from other chapters. Their purpose was thus both practical and ideological, to serve as the Emperor's instrument of vengeance and to embody the martial virtues of courage, honour, and faith. Biologically, the Black Templars are genetically enhanced super soldiers, inheriting the augmented physiology of their progenitor legion, the Imperial Fists. Like all Space Marines, they stand between 7 and 8 feet in height and weigh approximately 800 pounds, their bodies strengthened by the implantation of gene seed organs. These enhancements grant superhuman strength, reflexes, and endurance, allowing them to endure battlefield conditions that would incapacitate ordinary humans. Their skeletons are reinforced to withstand extreme trauma. Their musculature is augmented to facilitate explosive movement, and their cardiovascular and respiratory systems are capable of sustaining prolonged exertion in hostile environments. The Black Templars, however, cultivate a level of discipline and zeal that exceeds even other chapters of similar genetic stock. Their psychological conditioning reinforces absolute loyalty to the Emperor and fosters an unshakable willingness to sacrifice themselves in battle. From a recruitment perspective, the Black Templars draw their initiates from worlds across the Imperium, particularly those that have endured war, oppression, or frequent Xenos incursions. Aspirants are selected not only for their physical potential, but also for their moral fortitude, resilience, and capacity to embrace the chapter's militant faith. Once identified, these candidates undergo the standard array of Space Marine transformations, including indoctrination, psycho-conditioning, surgical implantation of gene seed organs, and rigorous combat training. Beyond these biological enhancements, the Black Templars place extraordinary emphasis on spiritual and ideological formation. Recruits are immersed in the teachings of the chapter, which regards service to the Emperor as a sacred duty and the act of purging heresy as a form of divine mission. These elements combine to produce warriors whose effectiveness is a product of both physical prowess and unwavering conviction. Tactically, the Black Templars are defined by a preference for close-quarters engagement and shock assault operations. Whereas other chapters may rely on defensive fortifications, ranged attrition, or combined arms coordination, the Black Templars embrace a strategy of relentless advance and frontal confrontation. They frequently deploy in large crusading fleets that traverse entire sectors of space, striking at targets with overwhelming force and maintaining operational independence for extended periods. Their tactical philosophy dictates that no enemy position is considered secure, and that every engagement is an opportunity to demonstrate martial superiority. This philosophy is supported by an organisational structure that allows for flexibility in the field. Individual crusade companies operate semi-autonomously, enabling them to respond rapidly to emerging threats without awaiting centralised orders. The Black Templars' preference for melee combat is reflected in the composition of their forces and the equipment they favour. They commonly wield chainswords, power swords, and other close combat weapons, supplemented by bolters for range support when necessary. Their training emphasises the ability to sustain offensive momentum under extreme conditions, making them exceptionally effective in boarding actions, urban warfare and planetary assaults. Each battle is approached with the assumption that protracted campaigns will be required, and every engagement is conducted with the intent to destroy the enemy completely. This approach has made the Black Templars both feared and respected throughout the Imperium, as their reputation for tenacity and unrelenting aggression precedes them wherever they appear. The organisational structure of the Black Templars reinforces their operational philosophy. The chapter is divided into numerous crusade companies, each consisting of approximately 100 warriors, though this number can fluctuate due to casualties and recruitment. Unlike other chapters, the Black Templars do not maintain a single homeworld or fortress monastery as their permanent base. Instead, they operate from a fleet of starships, constantly travelling to engage new threats. This itinerant lifestyle is central to their identity, reinforcing the perception that the chapter exists primarily as an instrument of war rather than as a conventional military organisation. Leadership within the chapter is also defined by a combination of merit and devotion. Captains are typically veterans who have demonstrated both battlefield skill and spiritual conviction, while the High Marshal, the chapter's overall commander, exercises authority in accordance with tradition and the example set by Sigismund himself. Despite the emphasis on offence, the Black Templars maintain a disciplined approach to strategy and planning. Crusade companies coordinate with Imperial Navy fleets for planetary assaults and engage in reconnaissance operations to identify enemy weaknesses. Logistics, while decentralized, is carefully managed to support extended campaigns. Supply chains are maintained through a combination of fleet resources, requisition from loyalist worlds, and local foraging when necessary. Each operation is meticulously recorded and reviewed, with lessons learned incorporated into subsequent campaigns to refine tactics and improve efficiency. The Mechanicus provides the chapter with essential arms, vehicles, and equipment, but the Black Templars themselves rarely engage in the veneration of the machine or the intricate rites of machine spirits. Their technological culture emphasizes repair, maintenance, and battlefield adaptation rather than devotion, a mindset reflecting the chapter's singular focus on martial duty and zeal for the Emperor's cause. In personal war gear, the Black Templars adhere to a combination of traditional Space Marine equipment and specialized items tailored to their assault-centric tactics. Every battle brother is equipped with power armor, a fusion of protective ceramite plating, reinforced joints, and life support systems capable of sustaining them in environments ranging from vacuum to toxic atmospheres. The armor is both defensive and amplificatory. It enhances physical strength, stabilizes recoil, and integrates systems for enhanced sensory input and communications. Within the armor, each Marine carries the standard issue bolter, capable of delivering high-velocity explosive rounds designed to neutralize infantry, light vehicles, and fortifications. However, true to the chapter's preference for close combat, the Black Templars favor melee implements such as the chainsword and power sword, which allow them to strike with devastating force in boarding actions, trench assaults, and the confined corridors of ruined hive cities. Beyond standard weaponry, the Black Templars employ unique and symbolic war gear that reflects their religious zeal. The Holy Orb, often carried into battle by veteran sergeants, emits blinding luminescence intended to disorient enemies and provide psychological advantage in close-quarters engagements. Similarly, relics such as the Icon of Heinemann or the Emperor's Banner serve dual purposes. They bolster morale among allies and remind both friend and foe of the chapter's sacred mission. These objects, while secondary to combat effectiveness, reinforce the Black Templars' identity as crusaders of faith and war, blending martial pragmatism with symbolic power. Vehicle assets within the chapter are designed to complement their offensive doctrine. The Land Raider Crusader, heavily armoured and equipped with frontal assault weapons, serves as the primary transport for elite squads during planetary invasions. Its reinforced hull, capacity for a full squad of Space Marines, and formidable armament allow it to breach fortified enemy positions and deliver warriors directly into the heart of combat. Similarly, the chapter's use of the Storm Talon and Storm Raven gunships provides rapid deployment options, enabling them to project force across orbital and planetary distances efficiently. Tactical vehicles are not merely transport, they are extensions of the chapter's will, embodying the philosophy that no target is safe and that swift, decisive action is paramount. These vehicles are maintained with meticulous attention, as mechanical failure in the middle of a crusade can jeopardize entire campaigns. The Black Templars' social structure is unique among Space Marine chapters. At the apex of their hierarchy is the High Marshal, the supreme leader of the chapter, whose authority encompasses both martial and spiritual guidance. The High Marshal is responsible for setting the direction of entire crusades, arbitrating disputes, and ensuring the chapter's adherence to its core principles of zeal and honour. Beneath the High Marshal are Castellans, commanders of individual crusade companies. Each crusade company is a self-contained unit, often numbering around 100 battle brothers, capable of autonomous operations spanning multiple star systems. Within these companies, the Sword Brethren hold elite status. They are not merely warriors, they serve as exemplars of the chapter's values, mentors for aspirants, and strategic leaders in critical engagements. Selection for the ranks of Sword Brethren is rigorous, requiring proven valour, tactical acumen, and unwavering faith. The values upheld by the Black Templars permeate every aspect of chapter life. Martial excellence, religious devotion, and personal courage are non-negotiable expectations. Every battle is both a tactical endeavour and a spiritual undertaking. Victory is not measured solely by the elimination of enemies, but by the demonstration of loyalty to the Emperor and the reinforcement of the Imperium's dominance. Discipline is enforced through rigorous training, oaths, and ritualistic affirmation of faith. Initiates and veterans alike are bound by these values, ensuring cohesion and morale even in the most desperate circumstances. This shared ethos allows the Black Templars to operate independently, sometimes for years at a time, while maintaining internal order and mission focus. Civilian roles within the chapter's operational sphere are limited but significant. While the Black Templars do not govern planets or engage in civilian administration, they interact with local populations in ways that support their crusading objectives. Civilians on worlds targeted for liberation often provide intelligence, logistical assistance, or medical support. In turn, the presence of the chapter inspires loyalty and hope among compliant populations. The Black Templars maintain strict boundaries, ensuring that their interactions remain purposeful, minimizing distractions from their crusade. Their martial presence often dictates the social organization of local communities temporarily, as civilians adjust to the security, supply, and movement demands of an ongoing military campaign. Recruitment and training further illustrate the interplay between civilian and military spheres. Aspirants are drawn from Imperial worlds, often those experiencing conflict or oppression, where martial aptitude is both culturally ingrained and necessary for survival. Candidates are selected based on physical potential, moral fortitude, and willingness to embrace the chapter's militant faith. Following selection, initiates undergo the full range of Space Marine enhancement procedures, including gene seed implantation, surgical augmentation, indoctrination, and combat training. During this period, their lives are wholly dedicated to chapter duties, and contact with civilian life is limited to the context of ceremonial or recruitment rites. The Black Templars' training integrates technical mastery of equipment, tactical exercises with vehicles and spiritual instruction, ensuring that each Marine embodies the chapter's combined martial and ideological principles. The operational philosophy of the Black Templars reinforces the interdependence of technology, leadership, and social cohesion. Each element, from power armor to land vehicles, from company structure to the faith-driven hierarchy, serves the central purpose of sustaining relentless crusades. Their emphasis on close combat tactics demands technological reliability, while the decentralized social organization ensures that every crusade company can act effectively without direct oversight. Values and faith integrate these aspects, creating warriors capable of independent judgment yet uniformly committed to the overarching goals of the chapter. Even logistical considerations, such as supply lines and fleet-based maintenance, are informed by this integrated approach. The chapter's mobility and ability to sustain itself in hostile territory reflects the careful balance of technological, organizational, and ideological factors. The chapter also employs specialized support units such as tech adepts and apothecaries to maintain both human and mechanical assets. Apothecaries oversee the health and biological integrity of battle brothers, performing surgical interventions and monitoring gene seed viability. Tech adepts manage vehicle maintenance and the repair of advanced weaponry, ensuring operational readiness during prolonged campaigns. These roles, while technical, carry profound responsibility, as any failure in equipment or biological health can compromise entire operations. Within the social hierarchy, these individuals are respected for their expertise and dedication, bridging the gap between frontline warriors and the technological infrastructure supporting them. The Black Templars' emphasis on mobility, aggressive deployment, and autonomous operations is reflected in their fleet-based logistics. Starships provide transport, supply storage, and command facilities for each Crusade company, allowing the chapter to conduct continuous campaigns without reliance on planetary infrastructure. These fleets carry extensive munitions, vehicles, and provisions, enabling sustained combat even in isolated regions of the galaxy. Fleet operations are coordinated by senior officers, but individual company commanders retain autonomy to make tactical decisions in response to real-time battlefield conditions. The chapter's reliance on starship mobility underlines the integration of technology, organizational structure, and combat philosophy, demonstrating how each element supports their core doctrine of unyielding offense. The Black Templars' identity as a chapter is inseparable from their most prominent leaders, whose deeds have shaped the course of their crusades across millennia. At the pinnacle stands the High Marshal, a role of both military and spiritual authority, responsible for directing the chapter's campaigns and upholding its strict martial ethos. Among the most renowned High Marshals in recorded history is Helbrecht, who commanded the chapter during significant campaigns against Orc warbands, Chaos incursions, and Xenos threats in the eastern sectors of the galaxy. Helbrecht's leadership exemplified the chapter's defining principles: absolute faith in the Emperor, unyielding aggression against enemies, and meticulous attention to the welfare and morale of his warriors. His tenure was marked by a combination of strategic brilliance and near-mythical valor, often personally leading assaults that would have been considered suicidal by other chapters. Under his command, the Black Templars expanded their influence, solidifying their reputation as relentless crusaders. Beyond the High Marshal, individual Crusade company leaders, known as Castellans, have played pivotal roles in maintaining operational effectiveness and enforcing the chapter's strict codes of conduct. Each Castellan commands a company of approximately 100 battle brothers, although the exact number fluctuates depending on casualties and recruitment. These leaders are chosen for their tactical acumen, battlefield experience, and unwavering faith. Prominent Castellans, such as Amador and Morgenstern, are frequently cited in Imperial records for their actions in liberation campaigns and purges of heretical worlds. Their decisions in both planning and execution exemplify the Black Templars' balance of autonomy and discipline, allowing individual companies to operate independently while remaining aligned with the overarching strategic objectives of the High Marshal. The chapter's units are organized to reflect their operational philosophy. The core of their combat strength lies in the Crusade companies, each subdivided into squads tailored for specific roles. Assault squads, equipped with jump packs, engage in rapid insertion and close-quarters combat, while tactical squads provide range support using bolters and heavy weapons. Terminator squads, often commanded directly by sword brethren or senior officers, are deployed for precision strikes against heavily fortified targets or elite enemy formations. These units are supported by specialized detachments, including apothecaries, tech adepts, and chaplains, whose functions are essential to maintaining the chapter's combat effectiveness and spiritual cohesion. Each squad's organization and operational procedures reflect both military doctrine and religious ritual, with every action framed as a service to the Emperor and the Eternal Crusade. War machines play a central role in the Black Templars' offensive capability. The Land Raider Crusader, a heavily armoured transport and assault vehicle, serves as a direct extension of the chapter's tactical philosophy, delivering elite squads to the heart of enemy formations. Its combination of mobility, firepower and protection allows the Black Templars to engage fortified positions with unprecedented speed and decisiveness. The chapter also employs a variety of other vehicles, including Predator tanks, Rhinos and Stormtalon gunships, each selected for their ability to complement close-quarters assault tactics, while providing versatile support for sustained operations across diverse environments. Even in the deployment of these vehicles, the Black Templars maintain rigorous adherence to doctrine, emphasizing coordination, decisive engagement, and minimal delay between insertion and combat. Behaviourally, the Black Templars exhibit instincts shaped by both genetic augmentation and indoctrination. Their warriors demonstrate heightened aggression and instinctive coordination, often acting in concert without the need for verbal commands. This innate combat intuition allows the chapter to execute complex maneuvers in the midst of chaotic battlefield conditions. Additionally, the Templars' psychological conditioning fosters an unrelenting sense of purpose, compelling them to pursue enemies relentlessly and to prioritize mission objectives over personal safety. The combination of biological enhancement, rigorous training, and spiritual conviction produces warriors capable of enduring extreme environmental and psychological stress while maintaining operational effectiveness. The chapter's internal culture is reinforced through a series of rituals and ethical codes. Initiates undergo elaborate ceremonies, marking their transition from aspirant to full battle brother, each ritual emphasizing both martial skill and spiritual devotion. Ceremonies often involve oaths of fealty, symbolic acts of penance, and trials by combat, all designed to instill discipline and reinforce the chapter's core values. Ethics within the Black Templars prioritize honor, loyalty, and zealous service to the Emperor. Cowardice, disobedience, or heretical tendencies are treated with severe corrective measures, ranging from ritualized penance to execution in the most extreme cases. The ethical framework of the chapter functions as both moral guidance and operational cohesion, ensuring that each member's actions support the collective mission. The chapter is further divided into internal castes and specialized groups, each with distinct responsibilities. The Sword Brethren occupy the highest tier of warrior hierarchy, combining combat prowess with leadership and spiritual authority. Chaplains oversee the religious and moral education of battle brothers, ensuring that faith remains a guiding principle in all operations. Apothecaries are charged with medical oversight and the preservation of the chapter's gene seed, a duty of both biological and symbolic importance. Tech adepts maintain vehicles, weapons, and other war gear, ensuring mechanical reliability under conditions that would challenge even the most advanced human engineers. Despite these divisions, the chapter maintains a unified purpose, with every caste contributing to the operational and spiritual mission of the Black Templars. The interaction of these divisions creates a dynamic internal culture, one that blends martial efficiency with religious fervour. Sword Brethren lead by example, demonstrating both battlefield skill and unwavering commitment to the Emperor's ideals. Chaplains reinforce discipline and moral cohesion, interpreting sacred texts and rites to guide the behaviour of the chapter's members. Apothecaries and tech adepts provide practical support, ensuring that physical and mechanical resources are maintained at peak operational readiness. This integration of specialised roles ensures that the chapter operates as a cohesive whole, capable of executing prolonged campaigns across multiple star systems with both precision and zeal. Rituals extend beyond formal induction and training. Daily practices include prayers before combat, the maintenance and blessing of weapons and armour, and ceremonial recounting of past victories. These rituals are designed not merely for symbolism, but to strengthen unit cohesion, enhance morale, and reinforce the psychological conditioning of the warriors. Even the most veteran battle brothers participate, emphasizing that no member is exempt from the shared responsibilities and sacred duties that define the chapter. The behavioural tendencies of the Black Templars are reflected not only in combat but in broader operational patterns. Their crusades are characterised by persistence, speed, and decisiveness. Once a campaign is launched, the chapter rarely withdraws until objectives are achieved, and their tendency to pursue enemies over vast distances exemplifies a combination of aggression and strategic foresight. This behaviour is reinforced by both indoctrination and culture, cultivating warriors who are intensely loyal, morally rigid, and willing to endure extreme hardship. Such tendencies, while effective in achieving military objectives, have occasionally led to friction with other imperial forces, whose doctrines emphasize consolidation and strategic patience. Notable units of the Black Templars are remembered not only for their battlefield achievements, but for the symbolic weight they carry within the chapter. Veteran squads, often led by sword brethren, are deployed in critical engagements and are responsible for training younger battle brothers. Chaplain-led death squads perform targeted missions against high-value threats, reinforcing both the spiritual and martial authority of the chapter. These units embody the chapter's philosophy, demonstrating the integration of leadership, specialized skill, and spiritual devotion. Their actions have left enduring legacies on battlefields across the Imperium, shaping the perception of the Black Templars as relentless, principled, and fearsome warriors. Internal divisions, while hierarchical, are not rigidly stratified in a manner that restricts operational flexibility. The chapter emphasizes meritocratic progression, with leadership and elite status earned through combat achievement, demonstration of faith, and commitment to the crusade. Aspirants rise to full battle brother status through trials and induction, and exceptional warriors may be elevated to sword brethren, chaplain, or other specialized roles based on proven skill and spiritual insight. This structure maintains both discipline and motivation, ensuring that every member has a clear understanding of expectations, responsibilities, and the potential for advancement based on merit and devotion. The Black Templars' interactions with the Adeptus Administratum and the Adeptus Mechanicus are defined by the chapter's unique organizational structure and operational philosophy. Unlike many Space Marine chapters, the Black Templars operate as a fleet-based crusading force, rarely remaining long on any single world. This itinerant nature necessitates both pragmatic relationships and careful negotiation with the bureaucratic institutions of the Imperium. Their dealings with the Adeptus Administratum are informed by necessity, acknowledging the value of administrative oversight, while resisting any interference that might slow their perpetual crusade. The Adeptus Administratum, as the sprawling bureaucratic framework of the Imperium, manages the allocation of resources, planetary data, troop movements, and logistical support across the galaxy. For the Black Templars, this body represents both an indispensable source of supply and a potential impediment to immediate military action. The chapter is aware that adherence to procedural requisitions and reporting requirements is necessary to maintain legal and logistical legitimacy within the Imperium, yet their operational doctrine emphasizes speed and decisiveness. This often results in a tension between the chapter's desire for autonomy and the Administratum's insistence on protocol. When a crusade company requires resupply or reinforcement on a distant world, the Administratum's channels provide the formal mechanism, yet delays in communication or excessive documentation have historically frustrated Black Templar commanders, prompting measures to bypass or streamline bureaucratic interference whenever possible. The relationship with the Adeptus Mechanicus is similarly complex. The Mechanicus holds dominion over technological production, maintenance, and sacred knowledge, ensuring the functionality of vehicles, weapons, and other advanced war gear across the Imperium. For the Black Templars, the Mechanicus is essential. Without their technical expertise, the chapter's fleet-based operations would be severely limited. Tech priests perform crucial maintenance on land raiders, rhinos, and Thunderhawk gunships, as well as on personal war gear such as power armor and bolters. The Black Templars rely on the Mechanicus not only for repairs, but also for the provision of replacement arms, vehicles, and munitions during extended campaigns. However, The chapter's doctrinal emphasis on devotion to the Emperor alone sometimes clashes with the Mechanicus' veneration of the Omnissiah, leading to philosophical disagreements and subtle friction during joint operations. Despite these theological differences, cooperation has proven mutually advantageous. The Black Templars offer battlefield experience, enforcement capabilities, and the elimination of heretical threats, complementing the Mechanicus' technological objectives. Some sources suggest that these collaborations are formalized through agreements stipulating mutual support in logistics, armament provision, and battlefield coordination, though the details of these arrangements remain largely unrecorded outside classified Imperial channels. It is believed that certain Crusade companies are temporarily assigned Mechanicus liaisons, whose role is to monitor technological usage, ensure proper maintenance, and report significant battlefield modifications. This arrangement, while practical, is sometimes viewed by the Templars as intrusive, yet it is tolerated as a necessary compromise to secure the technical support essential for prolonged campaigns. Politically, the Black Templars navigate a delicate balance. Their reputation as zealous crusaders grants them a degree of autonomy unusual for other Space Marine chapters. Imperial governors and administratum officials often treat them as instruments of both war and religious orthodoxy, relying on their presence to stabilize rebellious sectors or eliminate Xenos incursions. This deference allows the chapter to exert influence disproportionate to its size, shaping local governance and operational policy in ways aligned with the Emperor's perceived will. Simultaneously, the chapter maintains formal compliance with the administratum's reporting and resource requisition processes, ensuring that their actions retain legal sanction and avoid potential Imperial censure. In practice, the cooperation between the Black Templars and these institutions is a continuous negotiation. Administratum officials often provide detailed supply manifests, planetary dossiers, and strategic assessments, which Crusade companies incorporate into operational planning. Mechanicus support extends to the inspection of vessels, calibration of advanced weaponry, and replacement of crucial components. Conflicts arise when priorities diverge. For example, the administratum's insistence on resource rationing may conflict with the Templars' operational requirements, or a Mechanicus directive to preserve a particular technology may impede the chapter's preferred use in combat. In such cases, the Black Templars prioritize mission success and Imperial orthodoxy, often negotiating compromises or employing creative logistical solutions to reconcile the demands of these institutions with battlefield necessity. Conflicts arise when priorities diverge. For example, the administratum's insistence on resource rationing may conflict with the Templars' operational requirements, or a Mechanicus directive to preserve a particular technology may impede the chapter's preferred use in combat. In such cases, the Black Templars prioritize mission success and Imperial orthodoxy, often negotiating compromises or employing creative logistical solutions to reconcile the demands of these institutions with battlefield necessity. Historical records indicate that tensions between the Black Templars and these bodies have occasionally escalated into direct disputes. Some documented cases describe administratum auditors attempting to enforce reporting requirements on Crusade companies operating deep in contested space, resulting in delays and formal complaints. In other instances, Mechanicus tech priests have reportedly clashed with Black Templar commanders over the use of sacred equipment in ways deemed unorthodox or irreverent. These conflicts, while relatively rare, underscore the chapter's insistence on autonomy and the primacy of martial objectives over bureaucratic or ritualistic constraints. Nevertheless, the overall impression left by these interactions is one of cautious respect. Administratum officials recognize the value of the Black Templars as a rapid response force and a deterrent to heresy and Xenos encroachment. Similarly, the Adeptus Mechanicus benefits from the chapter's disciplined use of technology and the protection provided to Mechanicus personnel during field operations. Over time, these pragmatic relationships have solidified into functional agreements that facilitate resupply, equipment maintenance, and strategic coordination, even if philosophical differences remain unresolved. Some sources speculate that certain High Marshals have actively cultivated these relationships to maximize operational flexibility, negotiating allowances for extended campaigns and independent action. While specific details remain classified, it is believed that these arrangements include provisions for temporary resource allocations, priority access to Mechanicus repair facilities, and conditional approvals for combat modifications to standard equipment. These measures reflect the chapter's ability to leverage its reputation and effectiveness to secure institutional cooperation while retaining strategic autonomy. The Black Templars' political positioning also extends to their role as enforcers of orthodoxy. Administratum and Mechanicus officials frequently rely on the chapter to suppress heretical movements, eradicate rogue elements, and maintain the Imperium's spiritual and military cohesion. This dual role as both warriors and moral enforcers enhances their standing within Imperial politics, granting them influence that few other chapters enjoy. The chapter's success in balancing autonomy, compliance, and ideological alignment exemplifies the complex interplay between martial power, bureaucracy, and religious authority in the Imperium. The operational records of the Black Templars, as maintained in Adeptus Administratum and Adeptus Mechanicus archives, reveal the scale and intensity of their engagements across countless sectors of the galaxy. The chapter's fleet-based crusades place unique demands on both supply and logistical coordination, often requiring detailed oversight from Imperial record keepers. Casualty reports from various campaigns demonstrate not only the lethal effectiveness of the Black Templars' assault tactics, but also the costs inherent in their relentless approach to warfare. In assessing casualties, the Adeptus Administratum notes that individual crusade companies frequently incur significant losses during prolonged engagements. Battle reports from campaigns against Orc warbands, Chaos incursions, and Xenos forces indicate that attrition among frontline squads can exceed 20 to 30%, in particularly violent encounters. Such losses are consistently documented alongside the costs of reinforcement and replacement, including the mobilization of aspirants, gene seed implantation procedures, and the logistical deployment of new battle brothers. The Mechanicus contributes to these assessments by reporting on the operational wear and damage sustained by vehicles and war gear during each campaign, offering a parallel measure of material attrition. Supply chains supporting the Black Templars are correspondingly complex. Fleet-based crusade companies require continuous resupply of ammunition, power cell refills for energy weapons, fuel for vehicles and starships, and consumables for both biological and mechanical needs. Administratum cost reports indicate that provisioning a single crusade company for an extended campaign spanning multiple planetary systems can require resources equivalent to a moderate planetary garrison, with expenditures on munitions and vehicles constituting the largest share. Mechanicus records similarly document the intensive maintenance cycles imposed on Land Raiders, Rhinos and Thunderhawk gunships, as well as the calibration of bolters, power swords, and auxiliary support systems. These logistical demands illustrate the high operational cost of sustaining the chapter's aggressive doctrine. Among the notable engagements recorded in Imperial archives, several campaigns stand out for their intensity and strategic significance. The Black Templars' intervention during the Second War for Armageddon remains one of the most comprehensively documented operations. In this conflict, the chapter's crusade companies were deployed to reinforce Imperial defences against the Orc warlord Ghazghkull Thraka. Reports from the Adeptus Administratum describe the deployment of over 12 crusade companies, each consisting of approximately 100 battle brothers, supported by dozens of Land Raiders, Rhinos, and auxiliary vehicles. Casualty records indicate that individual companies frequently experienced losses exceeding 25% during initial orbital insertion operations and subsequent urban combat within hive cities. Mechanicus logs detail extensive vehicle repairs necessitated by Orc heavy weapons and improvised fortifications, including the restoration of damaged Land Raiders and the replacement of power cells in energy-based armaments. Another significant campaign documented by both institutions involves the Black Templars' operations in the Eastern Fringe against the Chaos-aligned warlord Marduk Lictor, Administratum reports emphasize the difficulties of sustaining prolonged combat operations in isolated sectors, highlighting the importance of prepositioned supply caches and fleet-based resupply vessels. Casualty figures in this campaign reflect both the ferocity of combat and the chapter's emphasis on aggressive engagement, with several tactical squads reported as entirely destroyed and subsequently reconstituted through the induction of new aspirants. Mechanicus observations note the high operational tempo imposed on vehicle assets, requiring continuous maintenance and repair cycles that tax both personnel and resources. These campaigns illustrate the dual challenges of human attrition and material sustainment that define the Black Templars' operational paradigm. Logistical considerations in battle are a recurring theme in archived reports. The chapter's fleet-based operations necessitate the coordination of multiple starships, supply vessels, and orbital transport platforms. Administratum correspondence frequently details the scheduling of resupply drops, allocation of fuel and munitions, and coordination with local planetary authorities to ensure uninterrupted operations. Mechanicus logs similarly describe the deployment of mobile repair units, field workshops, and specialized tech priests embedded within crusade companies to address emergent technical failures. The integration of these logistical elements enables the Black Templars to maintain operational continuity over extended campaigns, despite the high attrition rates and destructive conditions of warfare. Cost assessments from these engagements provide insight into the broader resource implications of the Black Templars' crusading strategy. Administratum reports indicate that outfitting a single crusade company for a 6-month campaign can consume material resources equivalent to several thousand standard Imperial Guardsmen, when factoring in armor, armament, vehicles, and sustainment needs. Mechanicus evaluations complement these figures by quantifying the wear on vehicles and equipment, estimating replacement cycles for heavily used war gear, and noting the labor intensity required to maintain operational readiness. These records collectively underscore the strategic trade-offs inherent in the chapter's doctrine. Their relentless offensive tactics produce decisive battlefield results, yet demand significant logistical and material investment. Reports of individual battles further illustrate the operational complexity faced by the Black Templars. During the liberation of the hive world of Vagra Prime, Administratum records emphasize the coordination required between crusade companies, planetary defense forces, and orbital resupply platforms. Casualty reports indicate that multiple tactical squads were depleted during street-to-street fighting, while assault squads engaged in boarding actions against fortified positions. Mechanicus documentation highlights the extensive use of land raiders and Storm Talon gunships to maintain momentum, with repairs conducted under fire and emergency field refurbishments, completed by tech priests embedded alongside the chapter's forward units. These engagements exemplify the integration of combat strategy and logistical execution in sustaining the chapter's operational tempo. In addition to human and material losses, the Black Templars' campaigns frequently incur administrative costs and political considerations. Administratum records note that prolonged engagements require continual reporting, justification of resource allocation, and post-battle reconciliation of supplies expended. The chapter's autonomous operational style occasionally results in friction with Imperial bureaucrats, particularly when rapid advancement or unconventional tactics bypass standard procedural requirements. Mechanicus observers, while focused primarily on equipment and technological performance, often document the strategic decisions of Black Templar commanders, noting instances where battlefield improvisation necessitated rapid repair or repurposing of vehicles and weapon systems. Notable logistical operations extend beyond combat itself, encompassing pre-deployment planning, mid-campaign resupply, and post-battle recovery. Administratum correspondence emphasizes the importance of pre-staging equipment, anticipating attrition rates, and coordinating with local planetary authorities. Mechanicus logs complement this by detailing maintenance schedules, repair protocols, and allocation of tech priests to critical operations. Together, these documents illustrate the multifaceted nature of sustaining a crusade-level operation, highlighting the complex interplay of personnel, material and procedural considerations that underlie the Black Templars' battlefield success. The archival record also includes observations on strategic efficiency and operational lessons. Administratum analysts have noted that the Black Templars' aggressive deployment patterns, while resource-intensive, often achieve objectives with minimal protraction, reducing long-term costs associated with extended sieges or drawn-out engagements. Mechanicus reports reinforce this assessment, emphasizing the durability and adaptability of the chapter's vehicles and war gear under extreme conditions. Both institutions recognize that, while the Black Templars' approach consumes significant resources up front, the resultant rapid conclusion of engagements often mitigates cumulative logistical strain, validating the chapter's doctrinal emphasis on relentless offense. The Black Templars' operations, as observed and documented by the Adeptus Administratum and the Adeptus Mechanicus, provide extensive records for evaluating the chapter's operational efficiency, strategic outcomes, and resource utilization. Gain and loss analysis reports compiled over successive crusades offer a detailed view of both human and material costs, alongside the tangible outcomes in territory secured, heretical forces neutralized, and systems stabilized. These evaluations consistently reflect the chapter's distinctive operational doctrine, which prioritizes aggressive engagement, rapid deployment, and relentless pursuit of enemies, often at the expense of procedural or bureaucratic norms. Administratum analysts frequently note that the Black Templars' campaigns result in high initial expenditure, but produce measurable strategic gains. For example, campaigns in contested sectors such as the Segmentum Obscurus often report that individual crusade companies, despite sustaining substantial attrition, achieve objectives with a speed and decisiveness that reduce the potential for prolonged logistical drain. Personnel losses, while significant, are offset by the rapid neutralization of enemy forces and the subsequent stabilization of worlds previously under threat. Mechanicus assessments complement this, noting that vehicle attrition, though notable, is mitigated by the chapter's embedded tech priests and forward repair stations, which allow for the rapid refurbishment of essential war machines. Both institutions emphasize that the Black Templars' operational philosophy, while resource-intensive in the short term, often minimizes the cumulative cost of extended conflict. Gain and loss analysis reports also highlight the chapter's efficiency in leveraging limited assets. Administratum documents indicate that the Black Templars' fleet-based approach allows multiple crusade companies to operate semi-independently while drawing on shared logistical networks. This decentralization permits a single High Marshal to orchestrate operations across several sectors simultaneously, multiplying the effective output of personnel and vehicles relative to the resources deployed. Mechanicus observations note that this autonomy, coupled with rigorous maintenance protocols, ensures that vehicles and war gear remain operational across prolonged campaigns, even when engagement intensity exceeds standard operational expectations. The combination of strategic independence and logistical support produces a high operational tempo that is difficult for other Imperial forces to replicate. Bureaucratic discussions concerning the Black Templars frequently focus on the tension between procedural compliance and operational necessity. Administratum correspondence reflects ongoing deliberations about balancing the chapter's autonomous style with requirements for reporting, requisition approvals, and interdepartmental coordination. Several historical memos reference debates over whether to grant temporary exemptions to standard supply regulations, allowing the chapter to prioritize speed and tactical initiative. These discussions often underscore a fundamental recognition. While adherence to bureaucratic protocol is essential for long-term resource management, rigid enforcement could impede the chapter's effectiveness in critical campaigns. Mechanicus documents similarly reveal deliberations about the allocation of tech priest personnel, repair assets, and maintenance schedules. Decisions were made to embed skilled personnel directly within crusade companies, even when this contravened standard procedural norms, demonstrating a pragmatic flexibility driven by operational necessity. The actions implemented by both institutions in response to these analyses illustrate a balance of oversight and support. Administratum initiatives include the pre-positioning of supply caches, expedited approval processes for requisitions, and enhanced coordination with planetary authorities to facilitate campaign operations. Mechanicus responses involve the deployment of mobile repair units, field workshops, and embedded tech priests to ensure continuous functionality of vehicles and war gear under battlefield conditions. These measures reflect a recognition of the Black Templars' exceptional operational demands, as well as an understanding that their effectiveness in combat justifies temporary deviations from standard procedural expectations. Notable case studies and gain and loss analyses provide further insight into the efficacy of these measures. During the crusade to liberate the hive world of Carsis Prime, Administratum reports indicate that initial casualties among tactical and assault squads were high, with losses exceeding 20% in frontline units. However, the speed of engagement, combined with precise coordination of supply and reinforcements, resulted in the rapid subjugation of enemy forces, the restoration of imperial authority, and the stabilization of local populations. Mechanicus documentation of vehicle repairs during the same campaign emphasizes the efficiency of embedded tech priests and field workshops, which allowed damaged land raiders, rhinos, and Thunderhawk gunships to be returned to operational status within days, minimizing prolonged downtime. Such case studies exemplify the synergistic outcomes produced by effective cooperation between the Black Templars and these bureaucratic institutions. Final analyses from the Adeptus Administratum consistently highlight a dual perspective. Operational success is measured both in immediate battlefield results and in adherence to broader strategic objectives. While the Black Templars' aggressive tactics occasionally generate friction with procedural expectations, the long-term outcomes, stabilized worlds, neutralized heretical threats, and the preservation of key imperial assets are overwhelmingly positive. Administratum reports often conclude that the chapter's autonomous crusading style, when combined with targeted bureaucratic oversight, produces superior results compared to more conventional imperial force deployments. Mechanicus evaluations reinforce this conclusion, noting that the chapter's meticulous attention to wargear maintenance, combined with their embedding of skilled tech priests, ensures that vehicles and armaments are preserved for continued operational use despite sustained engagement intensity. In both institutions' perspective, the Black Templars exemplify a model of high-cost, high-return military engagement. Administratum records acknowledge the need for ongoing monitoring, careful resource planning, and strategic coordination, yet consistently recognize the chapter's effectiveness in achieving objectives that might otherwise require larger or more conventional imperial forces. Mechanicus documentation underscores the chapter's ability to maintain operational readiness in extreme conditions, highlighting the combination of procedural support, embedded technical expertise, and disciplined internal maintenance protocols. Collectively, these assessments convey a measured respect for the chapter's capabilities, tempered by an awareness of the resource intensity inherent in sustaining their crusading operations. Furthermore, both institutions note the value of institutional learning derived from interactions with the Black Templars. Administratum analysts have historically applied lessons from Templar campaigns to improve supply chain efficiency, optimize deployment schedules, and refine resource allocation protocols. Mechanicus engineers have used operational data from Templar engagements to enhance repair workflows, adapt maintenance schedules to high-intensity combat scenarios, and anticipate material degradation under extreme conditions. In this way, the Black Templars serve as both a field testbed and a benchmark for institutional standards in Imperial warfare, influencing policy and procedure within both the Administratum and Mechanicus. The overall evaluation concludes that, while the Black Templars' methods diverge from conventional Imperial practices, the synergistic relationship between the chapter, the Adeptus Administratum, and the Adeptus Mechanicus produces measurable benefits. Administratum documentation emphasizes that the chapter's autonomy, when paired with strategic oversight, enables rapid and decisive action across multiple theatres of conflict. Mechanicus reports corroborate this, indicating that the integration of technical expertise within Crusade companies mitigates the material risks associated with their high-intensity operations. From a combined perspective, both institutions regard the Black Templars as a highly effective instrument of the Emperor's will, capable of achieving results that conventional forces would struggle to replicate, while presenting manageable challenges in terms of bureaucratic oversight and resource allocation. The Black Templars' interactions with the Inquisition are complex and multifaceted, reflecting the chapter's zealous approach to warfare and the Imperium's broader concern with heresy, xenos threats, and internal stability. As a chapter devoted to the Emperor and perpetually engaged in crusades, the Black Templars are frequently under the scrutiny of inquisitorial agents whose interests range from monitoring potential deviations from imperial orthodoxy to assessing the strategic impact of the chapter's military operations. Inquisition impressions of the Black Templars are shaped by both admiration for their martial effectiveness and cautious awareness of their rigid ideological stance, which can sometimes place them at odds with broader imperial administrative or political objectives. In general, the Inquisition recognizes the Black Templars as a highly effective instrument of imperial power. Their adherence to the Emperor's will, unyielding zeal, and relentless operational tempo make them a formidable force against heretics, chaos cults, and alien incursions. Inquisitors note that the chapter's fleet-based crusades allow for rapid deployment to contested worlds, often preempting wider threats before they can escalate into systemic risks for the Imperium. These actions frequently align with inquisitorial goals, particularly in sectors where heretical activity or xenos infiltration has been detected. The Black Templars' reputation for uncompromising justice reinforces the Inquisition's broader mission of maintaining doctrinal purity, offering a reliable partner in campaigns where subtlety is subordinate to decisive action. Despite these alignments, the relationship between the Black Templars and the Inquisition is not without tension. Inquisitorial agents occasionally express concern regarding the chapter's autonomous operational style, which can result in unilateral decisions with far-reaching consequences. Campaigns conducted without prior consultation or full strategic disclosure have, on occasion, disrupted Inquisition investigations or compromised intelligence-gathering operations. The chapter's focus on immediate martial objectives sometimes overrides the Inquisition's preference for measured investigatory approaches, creating friction between tactical necessity and the Inquisition's long-term strategic goals. Nevertheless, a pragmatic cooperation has developed over time. The Inquisition frequently coordinates with High Marshals and senior captains to ensure that the Black Templars' actions complement ongoing investigations or campaigns. Specific agreements, though often undocumented in accessible records due to their sensitive nature, appear to formalize the provision of intelligence, operational directives, and targeted mission objectives. In practice, these agreements allow Inquisitors to leverage the chapter's military strength, while imposing strategic constraints designed to protect broader imperial objectives. The Black Templars in turn receive guidance and selective intelligence from the Inquisition, which enables them to identify high-value targets and prioritize threats that align with their religious and martial imperatives. Political engagements between the Black Templars and the Inquisition are similarly pragmatic and carefully managed. Inquisitors recognize the chapter's autonomy, as well as the political influence derived from their reputation as zealous crusaders. Administratively, the Inquisition often relies on the Black Templars to enforce imperial authority in regions where conventional governance is weakened by heresy, rebellion, or alien presence. Historical records of joint operations illustrate the nuanced nature of this relationship. During the suppression of chaos cults on the agri-world of Vorin Prime, inquisitorial agents deployed alongside crusade companies to ensure that investigations were conducted while the chapter executed decisive military actions. Reports indicate that the Black Templars coordinated closely with Inquisitors to prioritize targets, secure critical locations, and minimize the escape of heretical elements. Casualty and attrition reports note that the chapter's aggressive tactics reduced the need for prolonged occupation, while the Inquisition benefited from rapid access to cult leaders and evidence, enhancing the efficiency of both investigative and martial outcomes. Similarly, in sectors plagued by Xenos incursions, the Inquisition has occasionally called upon the Black Templars to provide a forward strike capability. Campaign reports from the Eastern Fringe indicate that the chapter's deployment of multiple crusade companies, supported by a complement of vehicles and auxiliary assets, enabled the rapid containment and elimination of orc warbands threatening critical Imperial infrastructure. The Inquisition's oversight ensured that operational decisions aligned with broader strategic priorities, while the chapter's autonomy allowed for immediate tactical adaptation. These engagements demonstrate a cooperative balance in which both the Inquisition and the Black Templars derive mutual benefit despite potential philosophical or procedural differences. Conflicts between the chapter and inquisitorial representatives are, however, documented. In some cases, disagreements arise over the handling of captured individuals, the treatment of populations in contested sectors, or the preservation of evidence for long-term investigation. Inquisitors occasionally criticize the chapter for prioritizing battlefield objectives over procedural rigor, particularly when the destruction of heretical strongholds risks the loss of valuable intelligence. Conversely, Black Templar commanders emphasize the primacy of immediate threat neutralization, asserting that swift action is necessary to prevent the spread of corruption or the escalation of hostilities. These disputes, while rarely escalating into sustained operational conflict, illustrate the delicate negotiation of authority and the interplay between martial urgency and investigative oversight. Some Inquisition records, particularly those pertaining to the Ordo Malleus and Ordo Hereticus, suggest that certain High Marshals maintain ongoing correspondence with specific Inquisitors. These communications appear to formalize understandings regarding operational priorities, acceptable collateral, and the exchange of intelligence on high-value targets. While the specifics of these agreements are largely classified, it is clear that the Black Templars have cultivated a relationship that balances autonomy with accountability, ensuring that their crusading activities reinforce, rather than undermine, the broader objectives of the Inquisition. In conclusion, the Inquisition's perspective on the Black Templars is defined by a recognition of their unparalleled martial effectiveness, tempered by awareness of the chapter's rigid autonomy and doctrinal zeal. Cooperation is rooted in mutual pragmatism. The Inquisition gains access to a disciplined, relentless force capable of executing high-risk operations, while the Black Templars receive strategic guidance and intelligence that enhances the efficacy of their crusades. Political engagements are characterized by negotiation and coordination, ensuring that both operational and doctrinal goals are met, while occasional conflicts are managed through careful dialogue and mutually recognized authority. Overall, the Inquisition regards the Black Templars as a critical asset in the defense of the Imperium, capable of achieving results that few other Imperial forces can match, while presenting manageable challenges in terms of oversight, strategy, and interdepartmental coordination. The Black Templars' campaigns have occasionally intersected with events that the Inquisition classifies as anomalous or otherwise highly sensitive. These occurrences are documented in specialized reports, often marked for restricted circulation within the ordos of the Inquisition, reflecting the delicate and potentially destabilizing nature of the information. Such anomalies range from unexpected Xenos phenomena to unexplained psychic disturbances and artifacts of unknown origin, which are rarely reported outside internal inquisitorial channels due to the risk of misinterpretation or public panic. One recurring category of anomaly involves the unexpected survival or re-emergence of hostile forces previously thought neutralized. In several campaigns across the Segmentum Obscurus and the Eastern Fringe, crusade companies have encountered orc warbands or chaos cults that, according to prior Administratum and Mechanicus records, should have been completely destroyed. Inquisition analysts reviewing these cases have noted the repeated appearance of such forces as anomalous, suggesting either undocumented reinforcements, hidden warp-based interventions, or previously unrecognized methods of concealment. Some reports speculate that warp-tainted energies may facilitate the reconstitution of cult networks, or the accelerated growth of Xenos populations, although this remains unconfirmed. Mysterious findings are another significant component of inquisitorial observation. The Black Templars, during rapid crusading operations, have occasionally unearthed ancient relics, cryptic machinery, or codices containing knowledge that predates current imperial records. Inquisitorial agents accompanying crusade companies, or receiving post-mission intelligence, often record these discoveries under heightened security classifications. For example, during operations on the agri-world of Hestia Secundus, the chapter uncovered a partially buried structure of Xenos origin, exhibiting technological signatures that defied Mechanicus analysis at the time. Inquisitors later documented the site as containing anomalous energy readings, cryptic inscriptions and residual warp interference, warranting containment and further study. These events are catalogued as highly sensitive due to their potential implications for both imperial security and doctrinal orthodoxy. Reports of anomalous psychic phenomena are also recurrent in inquisitorial documentation of Black Templars campaigns. While the chapter does not traditionally include sanctioned psychers within its ranks, engagement in warp-tainted zones or proximity to chaos-tainted forces has occasionally resulted in unexplained disturbances, affecting both machinery and personnel. These anomalies are recorded in highly classified files, often describing sudden malfunctions in vehicles or weapons systems, brief lapses in situational awareness, or hallucinations reported by battle brothers. Inquisitors have sometimes intervened directly, employing specialized Ordo Malleus protocols to identify the source of the disturbances and determine whether further action was required to prevent contamination or corruption. Although causal explanations remain uncertain, these findings are treated with extreme caution, emphasizing containment, observation, and secrecy. Highly classified reports also detail instances in which the Black Templars' engagement with heretical or alien artifacts results in significant operational implications. One documented incident, believed to have occurred during the campaign against a chaos cult on the industrial world of Breven 5, involved the sudden activation of a dormant Xenios device. The device produced a localized warp anomaly, interfering with communications and disrupting tactical coordination. Inquisitorial records indicate that the rapid intervention of embedded agents allowed the chapter to neutralize the threat, but the event was subsequently classified due to the potential implications for broader imperial knowledge of Xenos technology. These reports underscore the delicate balance between operational effectiveness and the preservation of sensitive information in campaigns involving unknown or partially understood phenomena. In other cases, crusade companies have encountered uncharted or unrecorded sites of imperial origin that contained partial battle records, experimental weaponry, or fragments of lost codices. Inquisition documentation frequently highlights these findings as requiring careful preservation and analysis, with restricted access to prevent the spread of potentially destabilizing knowledge. The Black Templars' insistence on rapid clearance and mission completion has occasionally conflicted with inquisitorial caution, necessitating coordinated intervention to ensure that artifacts or documents of potential heretical or Xenos significance are secured. Analysts note that while the chapter is highly effective in neutralizing immediate threats, their operational tempo sometimes limits the opportunity for full investigative study, creating ongoing tension between martial efficiency and research imperatives. Anomalous battlefield events, particularly those associated with warp incursions or psychic phenomena, are systematically reported to the Inquisition's Ordos. Crusade companies' after-action reports are augmented by classified appendices from embedded agents, detailing environmental, psychological, and technological irregularities. In several campaigns, such as those in the Ulixis subsector, these reports describe spontaneous energy discharges, temporal anomalies, and unexplained failure of standard Mechanicus calibration protocols. While the origin of these events is rarely conclusively determined, inquisitorial assessments consistently emphasize caution, containment, and monitoring, recognizing both the potential hazard and the value of understanding emergent phenomena within the broader context of imperial security. Mysterious artifacts discovered by the Black Templars are frequently analysed in cooperation with the Adeptus Mechanicus under Inquisition oversight. Such analyses often involve highly restricted experimental protocols, including energy signature scans, limited activation of dormant mechanisms, and arcane examination by sanctioned tech priests. Inquisitors record these procedures meticulously, evaluating both the potential tactical advantage and the risks of heretical contamination. In some cases, these artifacts are subsequently relocated to highly secure inquisitorial facilities or transferred to Mechanicus vaults under special sanction, ensuring that knowledge and technology do not fall into unregulated hands. The classification of these findings is consistently strict, reflecting the Inquisition's prioritization of containment and controlled dissemination. Additionally, reports indicate that anomalies occasionally impact the chapter's strategic planning. Embedded Inquisitors maintain situational awareness of environmental irregularities, warp distortions, and potential Xenos infiltration during extended campaigns. Their observations inform tactical directives, advising Black Templar commanders on optimal deployment, risk management, and the prioritization of objectives. These interventions demonstrate a functional integration of investigative oversight with battlefield operations, allowing the chapter to retain its characteristic operational speed while mitigating the risks associated with anomalous phenomena. Finally, highly classified incidents often include irregularities in communications, intelligence, or battlefield conditions that cannot be attributed to enemy action alone. For example, certain planetary operations have recorded unexpected failures in navigational systems, anomalous energy readings, or temporary disorientation among squads, necessitating immediate intervention by both chapter sergeants and inquisitorial agents. These events are documented in restricted files, highlighting the persistent challenge of reconciling the Black Templars' high-intensity operational doctrine with the unpredictable nature of the Imperium's more arcane and hazardous phenomena. The cumulative assessment of these reports leads the Inquisition to a nuanced perspective. The Black Templars are exceptionally effective combatants whose operational tempo and doctrinal zeal produce decisive outcomes, yet their interaction with anomalous forces and artifacts requires close observation. The chapter's autonomous nature, while advantageous in conventional engagements, can inadvertently exacerbate exposure to warp phenomena, heretical resurgence, or Xenos artifacts. Consequently, inquisitorial policy emphasizes both the deployment of embedded agents and the maintenance of high classification standards, balancing the chapter's operational independence with safeguards to protect broader Imperial stability. Throughout the extensive history of Black Templars campaigns, the Inquisition has documented numerous instances of relic discoveries and beneficial findings, often arising during the course of crusade operations. Such discoveries frequently occur in regions of strategic or religious significance, including ancient Imperial fortresses, forgotten monastic complexes, or long-abandoned battlefields. Inquisitorial records emphasize that the identification and preservation of these relics serve both practical and doctrinal purposes, providing insight into historical conflicts, reinforcing the legitimacy of crusading objectives, and occasionally offering technological or psychic utility under controlled conditions. One prominent category of relics comprises artifacts associated with the early crusading era of the Black Templars themselves. Ancient banners, sacred reliquaries, and battle-standard fragments recovered during planetary operations are meticulously catalogued by inquisitorial agents. These items serve as symbols of martial tradition, reinforcing morale among the chapter's aspirants and veterans alike. In addition to ceremonial significance, certain relics have demonstrated unexpected functional properties. For example, relic blades and bolters, while primarily symbolic, have occasionally exhibited minor augmentations or improved reliability under battlefield stress, suggesting residual craftsmanship or arcane reinforcement from preceding centuries. The Inquisition consistently advises caution regarding these artifacts, balancing their preservation with operational utilization to prevent loss or contamination. Beneficial findings extend beyond symbolic or ceremonial objects to include recovered intelligence, technical schematics, and lost codices. During campaigns against Xenos or heretical entities, Black Templars have occasionally uncovered information that significantly enhances the Imperium's capacity to anticipate enemy strategies. Inquisitorial analysis of these recoveries emphasizes their strategic value. Battle plans, records of cultist networks, and Xenos engineering schematics are integrated into restricted intelligence repositories. Mechanicus and Administratum oversight ensures that such information is preserved, verified, and made actionable without compromising security or exposing sensitive methods to unregulated personnel. These findings reinforce the collaborative dynamic between the Chapter and the Inquisition, as the Templars' martial operations produce opportunities for intelligence collection that might otherwise remain inaccessible. Despite these positive outcomes, inquisitorial records also detail instances of urgent or horrific findings, which frequently occur in conjunction with engagements against chaos cults or warp-tainted phenomena. Reports describe encounters with entities exhibiting significant mutation, demonic influence, or psychological corruption, often resulting in the complete annihilation of planetary settlements or industrial facilities. Embedded Inquisitors document these events with rigorous detail, noting not only the tactical circumstances, but also the environmental and psychic signatures associated with such anomalies. These records are highly classified due to the potential for destabilization, both politically and doctrinally, as well as the operational risk posed to future forces deployed in affected sectors. A notable instance involved the eradication of a Chaos warband on the agri-world of Telrus IV. Administratum records initially reported the planet as a minor insurgent hub, but Inquisition assessment indicated extensive warp-tainted contamination. The Black Templars' intervention, though highly effective in neutralizing the immediate threat, revealed multiple catastrophic phenomena, including sudden environmental collapses, mass mutation of civilian populations, and residual demonic activity. Inquisitorial agents classified these occurrences as urgent findings, initiating containment protocols and the temporary isolation of the system from further Imperial exploitation. The records emphasize both the efficiency of the Chapter in executing rapid purges and the continued necessity for monitoring residual anomalies, which present ongoing threats to Imperial stability. In addition to environmental hazards, urgent findings occasionally encompass recovered artifacts or relics of malevolent intent. Instances are documented in which previously unknown demon-forged weapons, warp-touch devices, or heretical codices are uncovered during Templar operations. Embedded Inquisitors coordinate immediate containment, cataloguing, and transport of these objects to secure facilities for long-term study. The Black Templars, while zealous in their martial approach, adhere to strict protocols regarding the handling of potentially corruptive material, ensuring that engagement efficiency does not compromise doctrinal or operational security. These dual imperatives, rapid neutralization of threats and careful preservation of hazardous relics, define the operational interface between the Chapter and the Inquisition during high-risk campaigns. Final analysis from inquisitorial perspective consistently emphasizes the dual nature of Black Templars' operations. On one hand, their aggressive and autonomous approach produces rapid tactical and strategic gains, successfully eliminating heretical alien and warp-tainted threats. Relic recoveries, intelligence findings, and the reclamation of historically significant sites further enhance the Imperium's strategic and cultural resources. On the other hand, their operational independence necessitates vigilant oversight, particularly in situations involving warp anomalies, chaotic contamination, or relics of uncertain origin. Embedded agents, stringent classification protocols, and ongoing coordination serve to mitigate risks, ensuring that the Chapter's zeal does not inadvertently produce broader systemic hazards. From a doctrinal standpoint, inquisitorial records acknowledge that the Black Templars exemplify a rare combination of martial effectiveness and religious fervour. Their uncompromising adherence to the Emperor's will, coupled with a willingness to act decisively without awaiting bureaucratic sanction, aligns closely with the Inquisition's broader objective of defending the Imperium from internal and external threats. However, These same qualities necessitate careful monitoring, as the potential for collateral damage, unintended escalation, or exposure to anomalous phenomena remains significant. Inquisitorial guidance therefore emphasizes both respect for the chapter's capabilities and a structured framework for oversight, enabling the Black Templars to maximize operational impact while minimizing unintended consequences. Case studies reinforce these conclusions. During the purge of the derelict Manufactorum on Sarin III, inquisitorial logs detail the discovery of previously unknown Mechanica schematics, partially preserved from pre-heresy construction phases. The Black Templars executed a rapid clearance operation to secure the site and neutralize residual hostile forces. Embedded Inquisitors documented the recovery of these schematics, later integrated into restricted Mechanicus archives under highly controlled conditions. This incident exemplifies the dual outcome typical of Templar engagements: immediate tactical success combined with long-term strategic gain for Imperial intelligence and technological understanding. Similarly, in sectors afflicted by Xenos incursions, the Black Templars' operations have resulted in the discovery of artifacts with both tactical and cultural significance. Inquisitorial analysis notes that the chapter's campaigns enable controlled exposure to potentially hazardous materials while preserving the integrity of recovered objects. This approach facilitates both research and operational advantage, allowing the Inquisition to study unknown technologies, adapt Imperial tactics, and anticipate Xenos' behavior. These discoveries often inform policy and doctrine within the Ordos, reinforcing the strategic value of maintaining close operational coordination with the chapter. In summary, the Inquisition regards the Black Templars as an essential component in maintaining the Imperium stability across hostile sectors. Relic discoveries and beneficial findings reinforce both historical understanding and tactical capability, while urgent and horrific findings necessitate vigilant oversight, containment, and procedural compliance. The final assessment emphasizes the chapter's unparalleled martial effectiveness, tempered by the operational prudence imposed by embedded Inquisitors. Cooperation between the Black Templars and the Inquisition demonstrates a dynamic balance. Autonomy in execution is preserved, yet risks are mitigated through structured observation, classification, and intervention. The combined outcome ensures that the Emperor's will is enacted decisively while safeguarding the Imperium from unforeseen consequences inherent in high-intensity crusading operations. Collectively, these assessments conclude that the Black Templars' value to the Inquisition lies not only in their combat capability, but also in their ability to generate actionable intelligence, secure historically and technologically significant artifacts, and maintain doctrinal rigor in the field. Inquisitorial records consistently highlight the chapter's unique integration of martial zeal, operational independence, and strategic alignment, underscoring their role as both executors of the Emperor's justice and partners in safeguarding the Imperium's stability against the manifold threats that exist beyond and within its borders.